Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Casa Podcast. I'm super excited to be here. We're back again for another episode of the podcast. Today, I don't have a full house, but I've got some people in the building. I've got AY in the house. I've got Kwesi Frost in the house. You guys are looking surprised. Kwesi Frost is still surprised that he's on. How you guys doing?
Oh wait, I didn't even. Oh, I'm good. I'm good, man. How are you? How are
I'm
you, bro?
great. I'm great, brother. I'm great. How have you guys been? Let's start with that. How was your week?
Wait,
Oh,
ladies
very
first. Ladies
relaxing.
first.
Man,
Ladies
I I
first, of
I, I
course.
don't I don't like I don't like that response. Very relaxing, pa. Tell us what happened. How was your week?
Nothing, nothing really productive. Just eating, enjoying my vacation,
Mm.
drinking water. I mean,
Hey,
just eating and relaxing in bed.
your snitching powers are just amazing. You
I
just
said
snitch on
drinking
yourself.
water. What are you saying? I just said
Okay,
drinking
oh,
water.
sure. I hope the drinking went well. Crazy Frost, I hope you are not up to much drinking this week.
Oh no, I'm just sipping on my water, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay hydrated. Don't stay
Stay
thirsty.
hydrated and minding your business. I think it
Yeah,
often helps. It often helps. But
don't stay thirsty, man.
hmm. That's an advice for some people in the chat. I know Rashid is here, and Rashid, please, the advice is strictly for you. Don't stay thirsty. Um, Kwame was in the building before everyone else could get in. Kwame said, "Welcome to the Casa podcast." Yes,
Landlord.
welcome to the Casa podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic for me. We're going to be talking about stability, what it means, how we can build it, how we can maintain stability around us in our relationships, in our friendships, in our listening to the Casa podcast. For those of you who have not been very stable members, it's just probably because you didn't hit the like button yet. So take a minute, just hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe if you haven't. And let's get into the conversation, guys. Stability. I've been thinking about this basically all week, practically all week. I'm like, what exactly does this mean? And how do I look out for it? How do I make sure I'm first stable and two, my relationship with others are stable, right? Because in 2023, I don't want that on and off again, turbulent friendships and relationships and, contacts and connections. So this year, I think one of the things I have been trying to do is to be more stable, more organized, and make sure but do you guys also care about stability at all? Do you guys care about things being stable?
Yeah, definitely, of course.
But what does it mean to you?
Stability is to me, it's like having a little bit of everything. Okay,
Hmm.
so if if you are talking about emotional intelligence, being socially, you know, how to relate to people, like basically having your shit together. That when there's any situation, you don't
Hmm.
look, shaky.
Hmm.
That is to me
Hmm.
what I see stability to be. So
Hmm.
if you're going through hell, people, you're going through it, but then things are fine. Like
Hmm.
you are handling it well. You have things in place to control it. That's it to me what I term
What
stability.
stability is. Okay. Crazy
Yeah.
for us. To you, what would stability be?
Um, sorry. Being on the same page. Being on the
Hmm.
same page.
Hmm.
And working towards staying on that page.
So, but being on the same page requires the second party. I'm talking about just on an individual level. Like, do you ever
Oh,
wonder if things are stable? What are some of the things you use to assess your own stability?
um, incremental winning,
Hmm.
incremental
Hmm.
winning, going up little
Hmm.
by little, seeing progress, right?
Hmm.
Growth, because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. You
yeah.
just threw a big wrench into my idea of stability because I was thinking, keeping things, maintaining things, right? But
Yep.
maintaining things often leads to very little growth and not a lot of winning because winning changes you, growth changes you. And so incremental changes. So for you, if you're constantly getting better, if you're constantly
Hmm.
developing, if you're constantly winning, if you're moving on from one project to another consistently, that's stability. That's interesting. Because for people, that's change, right? Constantly going up is change. But
Well, change does not only go in one direction.
mm, mm,
So
Yeah,
with what
yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah,
saying,
yeah.
change
Mhm.
could be worse or it could be better. That is change.
Mm,
But then
mm.
he would, with it being better, that would be stability for him. Now
Interesting.
it's progressively getting better. Yeah, that you see, I'm being stable. There's something, going on for me.
Hmm.
But if you
Interesting.
just talk about change, it's like the whole
The whole thing.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Interesting. Let me get through a few of the comments because the comments are coming in thick and fast, and I'm loving this already. But if you're already here and you're listening, please let us know what stability is to you. In what areas in your life do you look out for some stability? And how do you measure this? How do you assess this? Right? Is it financial? Is it emotional? Is it, is it academic? Whatever. However you assess stability, let us know. We want to hear from you. Rashid said, I am surprised you're three today. Rashid, it's because you missed your seat at the table, but we'll try and get you in very soon. Rashid should have a seat at this table because I want to know a lot from his wonderful brain. Um, Delali is also here. He's watching. Delali, we've got eyes on you too. If yeah, we would tell, we can tell you're drinking water. You've added an empty bottle to the props behind you. Okay. Fees Man said, my first time watching you guys. Sending love from Ghana. Fees, it's so nice to have
Oh.
you on. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you enjoy it. And we're sending love right back at you in Ghana. Michael is back. Hi. Hi. Hello. Hello, Michael. We hope you're doing very well. Gets is a combination of both. There is growth, but not the kind that is dramatic with
Dramatic with
chaos.
chaos.
Just staying on the same page. Okay, okay, okay.
Is
That's
it
an
staying on the
interesting one.
same page being stagnant?
And not stagnant, but
I think you meant
if your page
maybe
is
page
if
with
your page is
somebody.
progress, yeah, I think, and if your page is progress, just stay progressing, just stay progressing. I think that's kind of where hey, PY is back in the building. PY said, if yeah, I
Yeah.
need your sweater.
Is it
Hey,
a
Sure.
t-shirt or a sweater?
I
Sure.
think it's a t-shirt, her
Sure.
casa t-shirt. We can
Yeah.
get that. We can definitely get that shipped out. Amanda said Rashid on the podcast will be chaotic. It's gonna be Amanda. We would have to see. We would have to get him in here and we'll see. Did Kwesi said? Did Kwesi just say?
You're what? You're what? I don't.
I don't know.
What do you
Michael,
mean then?
please complete the sentences. But
He
let's
just.
get back to the conversation, right? But I really still want to know if you're in the comment section. What exactly does stability mean to you? And guys, I hinted at something, right? In our own lives, right? There's so many areas, and for me, it's easy to think finance, right? Financially, I know what stability is. If I'm able to make my rent month
Mhm.
by month, if I'm making all the payments on my cards, if I'm not getting to that point in the month where I'm like, oh my gosh, where's the next CD coming from? Or where's the next dollar coming from? I feel a bit stable. When I'm on top of things, when I'm on top of my payments, I consider it stable. When there's a steady inflow of cash, I know this amount of money is going to come in, and it does come in. That's kind of financial stability. It gives me some peace of mind. What other areas do you assess stability? And what are some of the things you look out for when you're assessing the stability in these areas?
Hmm.
I knew you were going to say finance. That's why I took it out.
I mean, that is like one of the most important thing, right?
Mhm,
Like if
mhm.
you're looking at everything, money is like money is everything basically. So
Cash
yes,
is
that
king.
would be, yeah,
No,
that's the
no,
first thing you think about. But yeah, if you're
no, it's
looking
not.
at
It's
your,
not.
it's
Hmm,
not
It's not
interesting.
everything. It's not everything.
Hmm.
okay,
Okay. Oh.
maybe,
It plays
maybe.
a major role,
Hmm.
right? A big
Yeah,
chunk.
it does
Yeah,
play a major role in almost everything. Cause see,
yeah.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
you let you go. I'll let you go, and then maybe I can explain why I think it's not everything later. But
oh,
that's
okay.
Okay.
yeah.
So I think, but if you're looking at other stability, be
Mm-hmm.
in academics or work,
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
career.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So looking at you progressing, learning new
Mm,
things in whatever you're
mm,
doing, or getting promotions, that is what
mm,
you call stability. Then you
mm,
know that, there's something going on for you. You're
mm,
not stagnant and you're not declining.
mm.
It's steadily going up. That is
Okay.
what you, that's another area that you, I think I'll look at stability.
Mm, mm,
And and then relationship with others.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's hard when you have to deal with people, and you look at how, because everyone is different and how they think things are different,
Mhm.
you'd want to have some neutral grounds and have some balance
Mm.
with the people you deal with. That's what I think those are the two
Okay.
major
Okay.
things.
So Michael sent something in, and I want to read it before Quincy comes in. Michael said, "If you're married and your wife is happy, correct stability. Happy wife, happy home." That's an interesting one. And so for
Yeah.
him, as a married man, evaluating what stability is would be how stable your home is, and if the members of your household, your wife, your kids, are happy, no news is good news at that point, right?
Mhm.
When things are not hidden going up in flames, to him that's stability, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, at some point, having a peaceful home where nobody is setting the place on fire is some stability. Rashid corrected. He said, "Sorry guys, I meant the same pace, not page."
Okay.
Okay, so just staying on the same pace. That's interesting. Approaching life as though it was a marathon and keeping one foot behind the other, steady pace, getting to your goals gradually. That's what stability is for him. Mike, Quincy, you
Yeah.
said you don't agree with Cash is King. I think you're the
Oh
only
no,
one.
no, no. Cash is king. I just don't agree with
It's everything.
the fact when we say money is everything. I really think that statement is inaccurate, or it's half baked.
Mm, mm,
Yeah. So that's just I don't agree with that, because
okay.
what's a gasoline car without gasoline, right?
So
What's um
is money
if
gasoline or the car?
money is a car.
No, money is gasoline. Life is the car.
Okay, whichever way. Let's flip it. Yeah, right. Okay, but I just don't agree, because
Mhm,
I mean, you can have all the money, right? Since we're
mhm,
talking about stability, right? And I know
mhm,
we're gonna talk about maybe what stability when it comes to our relationship, like your
mhm,
relationship
mhm,
with your
mhm,
best friend, your wife,
mhm,
your
mhm,
co-worker, whatever, like
mhm,
relationship in general,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So I mean, if you have all the money, right,
mhm,
Mhm.
and you're not good to your wife, you don't have a personality, you're not,
mm,
like, you're not a team player, you're not, it,
mhm.
it, it gets to a point where the money loses its value
Its
to
value,
the one that
absolutely.
you're giving it to, right? Because
Mhm,
they
Mhm.
will look, if you have money and you can buy everything for your wife, but you keep punching her in the face every day,
mhm,
after a while she don't want to be punched again, so now your money it doesn't have value anymore, right?
mm, mm.
So that's where I'm coming from. That money is not. There should be a balance. Money is
Okay.
not 100%. Maybe 70, yeah, but the other 30, is other
Mhm.
stuff, right? Because
Okay.
there's a lot of people that if I say, okay,
Mhm.
um, I want to give you $1 million, right?
Mm.
They'll be like, yeah, thank you, you're great, right? And then statement number two, I'm gonna give you $1 million, but then you gotta lose both legs. Will you take the million? Or you gotta lose this,
Mm.
No.
right? Or you're
Mm.
gonna be in bed. I'll give you
Mm.
100 billion,
Mhm.
but then you'll be paralyzed in bed. Would you
Mhm.
take the 100 billion? Right.
Mm.
So that's the part. That's the angle that I'm coming from.
Mm.
I was just
Mm.
wanted to explain
Yeah,
myself at time.
I totally get that angle, and it's
Right.
true. There's so many ways
Right.
we can, but I think again, some of these things are just lovely taglines, right? As a
I know.
tagline, cash is
I
king
know.
is just fun. But
No,
whenever
cash
the
is
rubber
king. I agree with
whenever
cash is
the
king.
rubber hits the road, sometimes you change your. But again, we've talked about stability in our own lives, stability as it means to us, right? How we can define, how we assess these things. But unfortunately, your individual stability is only half the equation. You could be fine, you could be stable, but other people you interact with, which sometimes you don't even have a choice, sometimes you're bound to interact with them, would not be. And it sort of throws you off, it affects you, right? And so the first thing I want to look at? As in, when we're building friendships, connections, relationships with others, what are some things we look out for some stability in the other party, right? Frank, I will let you guys go in, but as we're building friendships, relationship, business partnerships, what are some things you look out for that in this area, if the person is very volatile, very unsteady, very unpredictable, I don't think we would jive. I don't think it will work for me. What are some of these areas? And before you guys answer, let me go into the comments because the comments are coming in. Courage is saying hello. And Courage is waving, I think. I like to think because it says hand pink waving. So I think it's it's a wave. PY said we need Prime back on the tribe. Absolutely. We have to get Prime back in the building. So Prince, if you're listening, please get
For
your mic
Prime.
ready. Start dusting it up because we need to pick your brain on a few things. Michael says for the halftime,
I think it's made for the first time.
for the first time, I'm agreeing with Kwesi. Some something I don't like. Yeah, you don't like agreeing with Kwesi, but the truth is, you guys are bound to agree for 90% of the time. So you better get used to it. Dr. Lowe is in the building, my people.
Oh,
Dr. Lowe, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. So guys, my question: when you meet people, what are some of the things you're looking out for? What are some areas that stability is key if you're going to build any form of connection with these people?
I look at personality, right?
Mm,
Because
mm,
I'm just like how you deal with people. Basically,
mm,
that is one thing that I can't overlook. Because if you are quick tempered, we 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 can't survive.
hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So for me, that
Interesting.
is
Hmm.
one
Temperament.
major, yeah,
So
temperament.
stability in people's moods, right?
Not even mood,
You're not
how,
popping
yeah,
off
but
quickly.
yeah, maybe how you deal with people.
Mm,
Maybe
mm,
you can have your mood swing, but you know
mhm.
how to manage it,
Control it.
control it. Yes,
Doesn't always
but
bubble to the surface.
no. And then
Mm,
if you get upset quickly, you get
mm.
mad quickly, it's like we can't.
So temperament, stability in people's temperament looks to be key to AY. Quasi,
Yeah.
what other things do you look out for?
So let me only I'm an old man. I'm no
Mm-hmm.
longer in high school, so I just go straight for the head. I look for value. Okay.
Mm,
That's that. I'm just
mm.
gonna sum it up.
That's
When you say
interesting.
Value,
value, what does it mean?
He's
value
about
can
to
be
unload on us.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. I look for value. That's
Mm-hmm.
it, right? Value is everybody's value is different. So um I agree with what AY said plays into fits right into the value,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like a pizza,
Okay.
it's a slice of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you are quick tempered, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have any value to me. I'm not bringing you on
Mm,
board, right?
mm,
If we're having a personal relationship, like if I'm
mm-hmm.
dating, I want to quick tempered, no, we're not gonna go anywhere, we're not getting anywhere with that, right?
Hmm.
So to me, you're not bringing much value, right? Because what you're bringing around me, I'm the judge of that, right? I have
Hmm.
to judge what I want to allow. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
the gatekeeper,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right? So I'm judging the value, right? If I'm going to business with you and you don't have anything, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have no ideas, because it's business, right? Either I have the money with no
Mm-hmm.
brain, you have all the brain, we come
Mm-hmm.
together, we fight on,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or I have money with brain, you have money with brain, we exchange ideas, we mix it up. So
Mm-hmm.
it's value because we are adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
If when we're in high school, middle school, you want to fit in with kids and
Mm-hmm.
blah 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 and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's different. But we talking as where we are now in adult,
Mm-hmm.
we have careers. Some of us are going to school, some of us doing whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It let's sum it up. It's value. What
Hmm.
value are you bringing? Are you
Hmm.
bringing money to this business or this
Mm-hmm.
personal relationship? Are
Mm-hmm.
you bringing common sense or ideas? Are you bringing
The
are you
common sense.
no.
Hey, hey.
Are you
Mm-hmm.
bringing spiritual progression?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? Are you
Mm-hmm.
gonna pray with me? Like
I'll
Mm-hmm.
be a prayer
are
warrior.
you
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna because it's value can be different, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
different. angles. Like I said, like a pizza, it has a lot of slices, right?
That's interesting.
So are you bringing? I'm just signing it up. Are you? I'm looking at value. That's
Value.
it.
It looks like the sentiment is being echoed in the chat, right? Amanda is saying, I agree with Kwesi, value, and it's an exclamation, it's a couple of exclamations behind that. And Frisla also said Kwesi has summed it up 100. Absolutely. It looks like it's resonating with people, the value conversation, right? You're looking at value, but I think again, for me, it's the next question that's going to make this difficult for you. And I'm going to start the next question with you.
Okay.
How do you then assess it? Because I think even if I'm going to be with you, so we're looking at stability in people's value. Like, I don't want you to come in and your value keeps fluctuating. Today, you're very important to the cause. You're very important to our mission. The next day, you're absolutely useless and you're dragging us back. I want some stability in what you bring to the table. So if it's brains,
Yeah.
or if it's like advice, counsel, I want your counsel to be on point. Give me, I don't want 100, neither do I want 0. Just give me enough to pass every time. Give me 80 all the time and I'll be fine. Not a player who gives you 10 points in 1 week and gives you 1 point the next week. And
Chelsea
so I
players.
agree. I agree with them.
Yo, Chelsea's
no-
my team, so I
No
can roast
Chelsea
it.
slander. No Chelsea slander will be allowed on the show today. I beg you. No Chelsea slander. But I agree with that. But how do you evaluate the stability in someone's value? It's very key to me. I want to know, how do you do it?
Like I said, okay, so everybody, I need to stop using filler words. By the way, this thing, like I just did it again.
You just did it.
Okay, so
At this point, it's becoming comical. Guys,
I know.
if you're
Sorry,
watching
sorry.
the show or if you're listening to the repeat or anything, every time he says please hit that like button. Every time.
And
Every
I
time he
just-
says
I just
let's just
joined.
hit that
I just joined Toastmasters to have effective speech to stop this thing, and I'm still doing it.
every
But
time
anyway,
he says
okay.
please hit that like button.
Back to your question, right?
Mhm.
Measuring
How do-
value,
mhm.
right?
How do you assess
That's
it?
why I said, how do you assess it, right?
Mhm.
I assess it by individual, right? There's cookie cutter stuff, there's tailored,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And if I'm dating, I meet somebody I want to
Mhm.
date,
Mhm.
right? And I'm assessing their value. You
Mhm.
talk to them,
Mhm.
you ask questions, we
Mm.
talk about things, right? You
Mm.
see their point of view
Mm.
and see if this thing that I want to build is this
Mhm.
guy or this girl the
Mhm.
right fit, right?
Mm. Mm.
She's pretty and all that and
Mhm.
everything, right? But is it a right fit? The
Mm.
ideas, right?
Mm.
Because I may like you, right? You're bringing different values, and all of a sudden maybe one value is violent, like you want to punch people if they look at you the wrong way, right? So I'm looking at it like, is this, maybe you're bringing cash, right? But is this cash worth the value you're tagging it with,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So learning to slice and dice and seeing that, okay, you have a good job, you give the best whatever, you cook good, you like the regular stuff that people like, look out for. Can she cook? Does he make money? The blah blah. It's it's subjective, everybody's different.
Mhm.
But I'm looking at all of it,
Mhm.
right? And I'm something that my uncle told me to look out for when I just life lessons. Take a sheet of paper, draw a line, put a positive here, negative here, and
Negatives.
listen them and see if the negative outweighs the positive or the positive outweighs the negative,
Mm.
right? I think personally that's a best way, or one of the good ways to evaluate people and evaluate value, right? Because
Are you
what if you
sure?
bring money, but then he's going to be punching you in the face every Saturday when his team loses, or he's going to be like,
So
people do weird stuff, right?
from what I'm getting, for you, value is a more holistic evaluation of
Yeah,
the
like a
other
holistic approach
party.
to doing to
So
evaluating.
it begs one question though. To you, how long would this process normally take? Because a holistic evaluation of someone sometimes takes a lifetime. So
Yeah.
how long does it take for you to
Oh
have those?
no, we are talking about the initial, like I'm the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
gatekeeper,
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
initial opening the gate, let you in, and
mm, mm.
because these are gatekeeping things that we got to look out
Methods.
for
Okay. Mm-hmm.
before you bring in as a
The
partner, and
person
then we
in.
build
Mm-hmm,
for. You're always
mm-hmm.
gonna have problems. Don't
Yeah.
get it wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You're always gonna have life's gonna throw stuff at you,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the initial learning, like seeing what you're gonna overlook and what you're
Mm-hmm.
not, and then getting on the same page with the person and try to grow with them, right? Because the goal is to grow, right? If you're not growing, you're dying,
Mm,
right?
mm,
The thing is to grow either
mm-hmm,
by yourself or together,
mm-hmm.
right? So that's the initial whatever, like
Okay. So this is like the first few, let's say couple weeks, right? The first couple
mhm,
days, couple weeks, couple times you guys are interacting.
mhm.
Kwesi is saying, Kwame is saying that you asked the question and now you're drawing lines and putting he is really ripping into you this time. He's really out to get you. He's
I
sent
know,
another
that's
one. He's
fine,
like,
that's fine.
as a Chicago man, oh, okay, I'm not going to be able to get through
Okay,
this.
yeah, this
Kwame,
guy, there's
whenever you
something
send
wrong
in
with him.
comments, I don't want the channel to be demonetized. Some of the, some of the comments you send,
Yeah.
if I read them out loud, I'm gonna be in trouble. Kwame, please save the podcast. But yeah, Kwame, you've been told to be very steady because if you don't, you might demonetize us. AY, how do you assess? How do you assess stability? You mentioned something about emotional, sort of
Yeah.
the reactionary parts of people. You want them to be a bit more, their mood should be a bit more steady.
Yeah.
How do you evaluate that?
I think that is one of the most difficult ways to one of the most difficult things to do, actually
Mm-hmm,
True,
assess
mm-hmm,
true,
somebody else, right?
mm-hmm,
true,
So
true.
I look at how you react to certain situation with people that
mm,
I'm not involved.
mm,
And even
mm,
sometimes with me when I'm involved, how you treat
mm,
certain situations, like how you
mm.
handle a situation and how you assess that this I can't deal with this. You just look at how they handle something in the past, handle some sometimes it could be wrong because you're like, oh, the person could go out of it, the person could, learn. But I mean, I think that's a downside, and you have
Mm,
to have a metric. And the metric
mhm,
is if you dealt with somebody else in a way that to me I felt uncomfortable.
mhm.
I don't know how I'm going to
Yeah,
be okay,
yeah.
and
Mhm,
then I'd have to
mhm,
pretend that everything is fine. I can't
mhm.
do that.
Uh,
And so if you don't if your relationship with people is you always have a problem with people. Like
mhm,
your friends, you're always complaining about like
mhm.
it's like, can't you
Yep.
just keep
Mhm,
that is like one of the most basic things, right? The
mhm,
relationship
mhm,
we have with people. I think,
mhm,
yeah, one of the things I'll say comes on top before
mhm,
money is like the relationship we have with people.
mhm,
It has a huge value to me. Like I value that a lot. And so if you're not
mm,
able to keep basic relationship with people, you can't relate to people.
mhm.
So you
I've
value the way they treat people, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay,
and even
that's
me, like how
yeah,
you
yeah.
treat me
And
and
I
how you
think
treat
for
people.
what AY is saying, it's how to evaluate or assess
Assess,
said
yeah.
stability, and it's so crucial what you're saying. It's probably one of the smartest things to do. Normally, when you're the object of people's attraction, affection, when people like you, it's just by default they're bound to act better around you. They're bound to treat you well. So
Right.
sometimes you look at the people they are not bound to treat well and how they treat them. Generally, nice people, people who by default are nice, are generally nice to even people they don't have to be nice to. Sometimes you're with someone and someone does
Yeah.
something to them. And I think even AY, it happened on spaces sometime where someone addressed someone. You were not the one being addressed, but the way the person reacted, I heard after the interaction, you're like, man, you handled it so well. Like they did
Yeah.
not have any reason to be kind to the person. They didn't have to extend any grace. They were viciously attacked, and the person just sidestepped and treated the thing with such grace and kindness. And right there, okay, this is someone who would be level headed. Their temperaments would not Because you know,
We shake, yeah.
even with people we're trying to get to know, sometimes you go on a date and someone messes up, someone really goofs off, the chef or the waiter messes up big, and the grace with which they would, oh man, I didn't order for this, but don't worry, and they're so gracious about it, you'd know right there that, this is a person who would be kind to me when I also mess up. But then you go on a date with this young woman and she places the order, and she ordered, say, wings with a certain sauce. It comes out and she pops off.
Yeah,
She
like
just
Kwame.
keeps going.
Like
Oh,
Kwame.
you see, you're doing this, and if it comes to you in the comments, I can't save you. At this point, you're opening yourself up for fire. But right there, it would tell you something, and these are some ways you can assess. I think AY's stability is a lot easier to assess, right? And even the stories they tell you. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
my sister did this the other day, and man, I went off on her immediately. Like, if crocodiles are eating their own
Yeah.
eggs, what would they not do to the flesh of a chicken? Like,
You know,
if they're
sometimes
doing this to
it's
their
wrong,
sister.
right?
Uh-huh.
Because in like certain instances,
Mhm,
you assess how the situation played out, and you're like,
mhm,
okay, maybe if I was in the shoes, I would have acted that way. But then again, it's like, even if you're not kind, be respectful to
mm,
me.
mm,
Like, it doesn't, you don't progress if you start
mhm,
being
mhm,
rude, start
mm,
being this. We are not progressing. We are
mm,
not going
mm,
anywhere.
mm,
That's where it's going to end. And so if I
mm,
have a kind of relationship with this person,
mhm,
we are not going anywhere, because at the
mm,
end of the day, nobody is going to have any conversation. We are going to be mad, we're going to be upset. If let's just end it there and just be
mm.
somewhere. Let's just end, like, we are not
You
going
said,
anywhere.
you said end it
Interesting.
We're not going anywhere.
Over AY. Okay, let me get to some of the comments. Rashid said, I look out for how practical and consistent your value is. Also, what I can live with versus what I cannot live with,
Mm.
and decide depending on what carries more weight. Is so true. In our assessment, it's not going to be perfect, but then you have to
No.
pick your battles. You have to pick
Yep.
The
the hills you're going
negatives
to,
and the
you know.
positives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Rashid. I couldn't agree more. Kwame is saying you can't evaluate people on the first instance of meeting. It takes time. I believe that evaluation is something that happens every day. This helps you not be surprised or and be ready for anything. My 2 cents. Your 2 cents are more than appreciated, Kwame. It's so true. For a lot of people, the evaluation process is an ongoing procedure. And you said you can't do it on one day. You can. It's not advisable. Sometimes you might make hasty judgments. It's something that you should aim to do over a long period. But sometimes one is enough. Like if someone is poking out eyes and poke out one of my eyes, I mean that's it. I'm not going to find out if they can do it again. So it depends, and that's where what Rashid said matters. What I can live with, like if someone keeps punching me in the shoulder and I know I can take it, well, maybe punching me in the mouth I can't. So you just figure out, you can assess certain things, and then the first day you're like, nope, this is not my cup of tea, and you head for the door, you bolt. And sometimes some things take time, so I completely agree that sometimes we have to be more careful in the way we evaluate things. Rashid is saying it takes time to evaluate, but I pay attention to how you treat people who serve you. Do you consider them as beneath you? It's so true. A lot of times it's the service, or when people are given, um, you know, a slight position of power. When they're put in a slight
Mhm.
position where they
Uh-huh.
that's where
Mhm.
you get to see who they truly are. That's where the gloves come off.
Yeah,
And so just
terrorize
because you're
people.
paying someone to serve you at a restaurant doesn't mean they're beneath you or something. Absolutely, it's one very good thing to look at. And PY is saying, I agree with AY. PY, are you agreeing with AY because you guys are all wise? Why?
Yeah.
Why is this the case? Why, PY? Okay, so
Hmm.
PY is agreeing with AY. How you treat people is very important to me. It looks like it's a general consensus in the chats that the way people treat others is critical, and it's very helpful. And it's one of the easy ways to assess these things, right? I have one last question, but this time I'm going to start with Kwesi because, hey, no, I started with Kwesi on the other round.
No, ladies first, man.
Okay. Anyway, we've touched on some of it, but in your own evaluations, when you've gone through the assessing, as you're trying to get to know people, either
Mhm.
friendship, business, or whatever,
Mhm.
after you're done with assessing and you realize people are unstable, what are some of the things you do? How do you deal with unstable people?
Try to stay away from them.
Huh.
But
Interesting.
that is hard, right? That is very hard because
Mm-hmm.
you what I was talking to a friend yesterday, we were talking
Mhm.
about this. When you decide that, oh, I'm staying away from the person, that staying away is not a um one person decision. Both of
It's
you
not
should decide.
unidirectional.
Yeah, because if you're staying away, the person is not staying away. There's no staying away.
There's no staying away.
No,
Okay.
That's talking, man. That's
like
talking.
you both have to decide. Okay, I
Mhm.
think this is not going anywhere, and I can't survive. You both can survive each other. So just stay away from me. I'm also going to stay away from you. Call me. I'll
We're going
try
to
to
mental
respect
health.
mental health. Call me, please.
Mm.
Oh,
So the thing is, sometimes you want to stay away, right? And especially when they don't see what you see,
Mhm.
like they feel like your evaluation is so wrong,
Mhm.
and so you are like, okay, I know you don't see that is when it becomes difficult to stay away,
Mhm.
because the person will try to make you understand that, okay, what you are doing, like your evaluation of what I did is wrong,
Mm.
but you are the only person that understands your evaluation system and your metric
Mhm.
system and why you think what you think is like that.
Mhm.
And even if it's
Mhm.
wrong, it's your decision.
Mm.
But sometimes the person will be like, no, I think you are, you are reaching, that's
Mm.
not how it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
Then your decision falls apart. To stay away, it falls apart, because then
Things
it's not
fall
going to work.
apart.
Yeah, it's just not
Mhm.
going to work. If you're the only person thinking I'm staying away, it's not going to work.
Mhm.
Both of you have to decide, okay, we're staying away each other, and then that will be fine. But what you can do, hmm, maybe try to help. It doesn't go anywhere from experience, but yeah, but
Interesting. Let me see. Kwesi, what do you do? What do you do in that instance?
what do I do when we don't?
Mhm.
What was the last part? Sorry.
So if after your assessment, after your evaluation, you
Uh huh.
realize, man, this person is not stable. This is an unstable person.
Hmm.
What's your next step? What do you do?
Communicate it to them and let
Mm.
them know how I feel and
Okay.
why I think I should walk away or I should distance myself or
Mm.
minimize communication or
Mhm.
whatever decision you want to make. Like AY said, probably walk
Mhm.
away. Refer them to a mental health, like Kwame said, whatever. But
Mm.
before you do that, right?
Mhm.
Before I do that, like,
Mhm.
because I don't know, I'm a big fan of effective communication. Like we
Okay.
adults, right?
Mm.
Let them know. But
Let them
then,
know.
but also let me contradict myself a little bit. It's not every instance
Mhm.
that you let them
You
know.
let them know.
Some people you need to ghost them
Mhm.
for your peace of mind sake. You need to ghost them. But then if you think they are adult enough and you can have conversation with them
Mhm.
about their bad behavior or their
Mhm.
bad whatever that doesn't
Mhm.
fit with your life or your model,
Mhm.
talk to them, let them know. It could
Okay.
be phone call, text, whatever. Let them
So
know,
so I asked this
right?
because of a very interesting. This is a political science concept that we're going to bring into relationships today.
Mhm.
There's this question that political scientists have been thinking about for a long time. What is the most stable system? Is it unipolar or bipolar or tripolar? Sometimes, and I'm going to explain. Some relationships, right? Once you discover what the stem of the instability is, sometimes the best way, especially if you can, is to treat it as a unipolar relationship. And so this person cannot stand emotional triggers. So anything that will trigger them, I'm going to shield them from it. It's going to be a one way thing. And we all have those friends that if there's any checking up going to happen, it's you who is checking up on them. The friendship is tight if you keep it tight, if you reach out, if you text them, if and the funny thing is, once you text them, it's like your besties, but then they can go for years without checking up on you. So sometimes it's unidirectional. You, the one who has some stability, offer enough stability, and I think it's even in a song that is like, one day I will be strong enough to lift not one, but you see, so sometimes you're strong enough to lift not one but two people. So in some cases, right, some unipolar relationships are great. Sometimes, especially even in business, sometimes when you relegate your business partners to or elevate them, depending on how they, these people are very good at outward dealing with clients. Like, they're the best. Their temperament and their I won't take this attitude basically helps us bring in customers. It helps us on the outside. When we come in here, I'm like, you're external. When we come here, sit down and let's have a dialogue, right? And so sometimes knowing people's weaknesses in terms of their instability helps you build a more stable relationship. Because sometimes they say two sailors cannot sail a ship. And so sometimes you need someone who would be the leader and in a dance, right? Someone has to lead the dance and then someone has to follow. And so I'm wondering, especially going back to what Rashid said about depending on the level of this instability or what you can live with. If you can live with it, is it something you guys explore? That, okay, I think I can live with this instability. I have enough to cover both of us. Is that something you ever consider?
Sometimes.
This
Sometimes.
is I don't know, maybe in a marriage or something, like, working. But I mean, if I just met you, getting to know you, and I don't really know you that much, I don't think it's something that I want to be a captain. I don't want to be a captain, save save a who, whatever. But I don't know. I'm just exhausted, right? Okay, we all adults. Let's get our shit together. Like,
okay,
at some point, let's call it what it is. Okay, you know damn well that the guy or the girl that you trying to whatever, they're not it, right? But you want to make excuses, and it comes back to force
it comes back to bite you.
It comes back bite you, right? It's like for instance, I used to work with this lady that super educated, got a career going on, whatever, right? And then she was seeing some dude that drives her car, doesn't even have a job, will show up to pick her up in the summertime, the tank top and all that. Like, you're out of his league, right? You know, right? But you're forcing it, right? And then one time he got mad because I think we had just come outside the building and she's picking her up, and your girl, whatever, works with human beings, other human beings. They're guys, they're girls, it's everybody, right? She's gonna talk to people, right? So I think it was three of us out, and then she was talking to her. We just having a conversation when he pulled up, and he just me mugging people, and like, bro, nobody wants your girl, right? We just work with her. That's fine. So that's example of you giving somebody a chance, right? Try to work it like, oh, maybe I can pull him up, and he's a dead weight. Let him go. He's gonna drown you. Right? When you start pulling, right? I'm not saying let's leave everybody to drown, but when you start pulling and you realize your back is giving up, your elbows are collapsing, right? Let it go.
Let it go.
Right? Because you can't help.
You can't save everyone.
Yeah, you can't help it. Like they say, you can't help the poor if you're one of them. Right? You can only help the poor financially if you're not one of them. Right? So that's at some point, let's draw a line in the sand.
At some point. Okay. And I think that's really good advice. At some point, you have to let it go. Even with these friendships, right? Where you're the only one keeping the it gets to a point you're like, listen, I'm done. Okay, so that is how. But before we wrap up on this topic, I heard something and I just need to pick you guys' brain on something. Someone is saying, especially when it comes to stability in relationships, you have to bring some professionalization or professionalism to your relationship.
100%.
That's what I heard. Like when it comes to stability,
I'm a huge fan of that.
okay, since you are,
100%.
tell us more. What exactly does it mean
That's 100.
by bringing some professionalism to your relationship?
Yeah. So we tend in relationships. I'm not a relationship expert, right? I have.
You're
I
not?
I barely probably know what I'm doing. I'm just
We've
figuring
all
out
sat
day by
here
day.
thinking you were the guru this whole time. Get out of here.
No, I'm not I'm not a guru. Maybe Kwame is a guru. I don't know.
He
But
is. He is.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
But we and I've made mistakes, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we tend to like people and for who we want them to be, not who they are.
Mm.
Right,
Mm.
because we like them so much, we make excuses. Oh, like the like regular Ghana stuff. Oh, boss,
Mm.
you know, see for what it is, right?
Nah, but I
That's
don't want
something,
us to
right?
wait. I don't want us to lose track of what you just said. Is that
No,
sometimes we love people for who we want them to be
to be not who they
and not who
actually
they
are.
are? That's deep,
Yeah.
man. That's deep. That's keys right there. Major key alert.
Yeah. So it is, and I've had that issue before, right?
Mhm, mhm.
I've had that issue on both ends
Mm.
where I was dating somebody and I liked them, and I think it wasn't much of love. I felt bad for them,
Mhm,
and I liked them, right? And I felt bad, so I desperately wanted them to succeed. That I made bad decisions, right?
mhm,
Both financially, whatever. Like I made bad financial decision because, but right. So in that instance, if I had applied business knowledge, right,
mm,
and saw them for who they are, I
mhm,
probably could have saved myself my losses because
mm,
maybe at that point they didn't need the money, they
mm,
needed advice, right?
mm,
They needed some advice to how to structure
Mhm.
their life or the situation they are
mhm,
going through,
mhm.
right? It's like they say, if you see everything as a nail,
Nail. Mhm,
well, if you have a hammer or whatever
mhm.
that thing is,
Yeah, well, if
you
you
keep
have a
hitting
hammer, you
it.
see everything as a
Yeah,
nail.
yeah, yeah, right. You
So
keep
you
hitting
had
it,
money and
right?
you saw every problem as a
Yeah,
financial issue and you just threw money at
exactly.
issues.
Like
Huh.
at that point, I thought I had something. I mean, I didn't
Mhm,
have money. I'm fucking broke as hell, but I thought I could save them
mm,
financially, right? I
mm,
could afford to do it.
mm,
But then if I had applied a little bit of professional knowledge
mhm,
approach to it, I could have probably
mhm,
saved them better, right? Because
mm,
in business, if your vendor, right, you own a
mhm,
company and you have a bunch of vendors, and your
mhm.
vendor
Going through
is
hard times.
hard times and you're
Mhm,
sinking, you're not God principle. You're not gonna go on their P&L and grab
mhm.
their liabilities and come put
And
on
put
your
on
P&L,
yours. Absolutely.
right? You don't do that,
Absolutely.
right? So
Absolutely.
I think that's an instance where
Huh.
sometimes a
You have
little
to
bit.
be
Now,
a
if
bit
you bring,
professional.
yeah, if you
Mm,
bring all your work home, that becomes very unattractive and
mm,
becomes not
mm,
a
That
friendly
becomes
environment.
rigid.
mm,
That
Yeah,
that that is where I come in.
yeah,
I'm like,
mhm,
yeah.
it's
Don't do
not
that.
with being professional, right? It's
mhm,
to what extent,
mm, mm.
how much professionalism are
Do
we
you want to bring?
do you want to bring
Okay.
in into the relationship? Because I
Mhm,
really get crazy with dealing with people in a very professional. I
mhm,
stand with him so much, but then
mhm,
sometimes like you go overboard.
mm,
You do it
mm,
too much.
Exactly.
You become too rigid for people to deal with you.
mm,
It's like,
mm.
oh, I want this way, I want this that way. Some
Mhm,
relationship
Nah, nah.
requires, that's where the stability comes in. Like there should be
mm,
balance, you know. You don't be too disrespectful,
mhm.
don't be too, jovial too. Like
No,
in
if I don't
between,
agree, you
what
don't
I
be.
think you should
Hey,
no.
let's hear if you're out. If you're so.
Because yeah, for
Mhm,
me in some situations I would
mhm,
use yeah, you guys know my mom thousand countless times. I think you guys you guys know I've mentioned it countless. That's one of my favorite human beings on the
mhm,
planet though. But we fight every day, right?
mhm,
And she's so principled. Sometimes you're like, do you even see what we are seeing? But at the end of the day, in the long run, you see what she was trying to do. But it's like it was too rigid at that point. Nobody appreciated it.
mhm.
But now we see it. We see, okay, this is what she was trying to do. And so
Okay.
gradually we push her to the point where, okay, it's good to bring business home. Like
Mhm,
you want things done this way, but too much
mhm.
of it, you lose touch with the people. Like you can't relate to us anymore. That is not how it's
Okay.
supposed to be.
Okay. I see where you're coming from, at least with the limiting profession. I mean, and just like almost everything, too much of it can be bad.
Yeah.
I think it would be good, at least in my opinion, to find a balance. Find a balance in how professional you want to be in your relationship and how much you want to let slide. And once you find that, I think you'd all in all be a great person to be around with, because people respect people who know what they're about, what the rules are. People sometimes all people need to know are where your lines are. If people knew where your lines are, they would respect it and then live. You know, sometimes people just don't know where the lines are, and so they end up crossing it. And so people
Yeah.
respect you when you lay down, okay, these are the things I can do, these are the things I cannot do. I cannot start swallowing up your debt. Like that's just and it,
Boundaries.
yeah, but boundaries. And for those of you who are still listening and you haven't checked out the episode yet, you should go back to season 1. Boundaries was a great episode. I think it was episode 7 or 8. Boundaries, they are for me, not for you. It's a great episode. Check it out if you haven't. And if you haven't, visit the Casa Podcast website and just binge on the shows. Now, 72 episodes in, you have so much to listen to. If you don't like Kwesi's voice, you can skip every episode he's in. Like you can get like 60 episodes he's not in. If you don't like AY's voice, then you're in for trouble because she's on almost every episode. But check out the
Oh,
other
that's
episodes.
true. Oh my god, you can't hate me at
and
this
and
point.
the conversation
He's an
keeps
OG.
going.
He's an OG of Casa.
Mhm.
You
And
can't hate me at this point. Like you just have to listen to me.
you sure? Okay.
You have to. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, some
But
most
yeah,
people don't.
Charlie.
But in wrapping up, let me read some of the comments. Right, I think Paul sent in this comment, and it came a couple of times. He said, "I treated someone nice when she messed up. Always, I let her slide, but when I messed up, heartbreak city. Oh, pause. So sorry to hear that. Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes you give people multiple chances, but you never get the same treatment.
learn from her. That's a
Yeah,
life lesson.
and
You gotta learn.
I hope you bounce back. I hope you bounce back. Um, Rashid said, "I treat them as human beings should be treated. Respect their humane nature. I will not invest emotionally. I will not let their actions drive the purpose of my existence." That's interesting. I think this is advice probably for Pulse. I'm not sure. But yeah, sometimes you have to be able to not let people, and again, it's a form of stability. If you are stable enough, mentally, emotionally, you're stable. Sometimes, yes, a lot of things happen around us, but we don't let that drive, the purpose of our existence. Absolutely.
What does it mean invest? I would not invest emotionally.
Um,
I don't
I
understand
think
that.
Rashid, if you can,
You be emotionally detached. So you treat the person like how you treat a stranger, with
mm,
respect but no emotions, like something like that.
okay.
Yeah, but in what relationship though?
Question, Rashid, if you can
That one, yeah.
clarify a bit
Question
more
will
for
come and clarify.
Kwesi
No,
has a
I'm trying to
million
because
questions.
we've talked about professional and personal dating type
Hmm.
relation,
Hmm.
right? So which
Hmm.
one is he referring to? Like,
Yeah,
because
a little clarification on the point would help. Rashid would appreciate that. Pause came and said, we like you if you pause. Please speak for yourself. I know a lot of people don't like if you're like that, so please speak for yourself.
No,
Let me put it.
nobody asked
So
you to
she
say,
she
Kujo.
yeah, she's just here blushing. I want people to see. Yeah. Apparently you're loved and liked by the community. Delali is saying Efia is the queen mother of the Casa podcast. She indeed is. She indeed
Hey,
is. And
I
apparently
have
they
to
like
be.
her. I didn't know that bit, but from now I'm not going to bring you on the show again.
Look
That's a
at
joke.
this.
That's a joke. But guys, we've had a conversation around stability, and I think Rashid just came to clear it up. Let me just read that real quick, and then we can wrap up on stability. Okay. So, AY, you're going to be on while I read this. Not as a stranger, but I won't go out of my way to make them happy, and happy is in quote. at the expense of your energy levels. Yeah, I think it's just when you're getting to know someone, you're not going
Oh,
to
okay. Oh, yeah.
be a
Okay.
people pleaser and just go out of your way. And especially, and I think even long term, that is not even something you can maintain. Like, how
Maintain,
long
yeah.
can you keep this charade up? Like, be yourself. Just do
he
what you
said,
can
he
do.
said
Yeah.
charade.
Yeah, don't act like. And talking about stability, I'm going to share something with you guys. Um, let me just put this in here.
Cool.
When it comes to the Casa podcast, fantasy league, I am stably at the bottom. Like like my position, I'm comfortably carrying last in this podcast.
That is stability right there.
Since I was first like in week 1 or week 2, I have not come to the top. Like I'm stably at the bottom, very stable at the bottom. If you haven't done that yet, just join the Casa Podcast Fantasy League. The code is crawling on the screen. And if you're listening and you want to join the Casa Podcast Fantasy League, the code is HASQAX. H as in Harry, A as in Alpha, S as in Stephen, Q as in Queen, A as in Alpha, X as in Xylophone. The other day I went shopping with AY and she had to do that, where she had to give a code to someone. And she was saying K as in key, E as in key, Y as in key. I'm like, AY, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. AY is so terrible at giving out codes. If you have to get a code from AY, Efia's name is spelled A as in Efia, F as in Efia, I as in Efia,
I
A
didn't say
as in
that.
Efia. I'm
What
like,
I
that is
said.
not how it
Oh,
works.
wow.
AY is so terrible at giving out
Oh
code,
my
but
goodness.
the code is HASQAX. If you play the fantasy league, you can join the Casa Podcast Fantasy League. And the winner of this season's fantasy league gets to win a PlayStation 5 promised by Ifya Yeboah. Ifya
Woo!
Yeboah has bought a PlayStation 5 she's willing to give away. And at the moment, Harland Oates, Nana Prempe, is at the top of our league. He is really stretching it. Like he is so far gone. I don't know if we should just give him the PlayStation now and just call it quits. But people are coming in strong. I can see a lot of our listeners. And if you're in the chat right now and you are not in the league, what are you waiting for? I know Rashid is the only one I can pardon to not be in the league because Rashid could
Why?
not give 2 cents about soccer. He could not give 2 cents about soccer, and there was such an honor when he broke all his rules to watch soccer with me. That was something I would appreciate for a very long time. But Ifya Yeboah is almost last. She's 11th. She thinks she's doing well. She's not doing that well.
I'll
Wise
go back
man.
up. I promise you guys.
Wise man, we're waiting for you to get out from the bottom of the table. You're being too comfortable. You're being too comfortable. I'm looking at PY. I'm going to look at the people in the chat and where they are. PY is just a few points behind me. PY, please stay there. Ifya Yeboah and Song, I've not seen Song in the stream for a minute, but this is the Casa Podcast Fantasy League. If you haven't done that yet, please join. You would stand a chance of winning Ifya Yeboah's PlayStation 5. She is ready to give it away. Somebody should take it. We're going to wrap up on stability, right? I've enjoyed the conversation around stability. I've enjoyed the comments that have come in. It's been wonderful doing the show with you guys. But before we go, any advice, any last minute stability advice, professional guys? You know, the professional daters are on here. Okay, well, please give us some advice.
I think you should, if for nothing, you should go with what Chrissy just said. Have some professionalism in your life. In your life, not even a relationship, in your life. I think it brings about stability in a long run, because then you have, your ship put together, basically.
So professionalism is key.
It's key.
That's if
not too much, not too much.
Not too much.
In some instances,
little bit.
Well-measured professionalism is key.
Yeah, in all areas.
And Kwesi, what's your last word? What are you leaving us
I'm
with?
gonna say what I said on Twitter. It got me in trouble. Stay focused.
Stay focused. Stay focused. Know your goals and stay focused on achieving these goals.
Yeah, stay focused.
But I'm going to end on something you said. Actually, I'm going to steal Kwesi's words. Love people for who they are and not who you want them to be.
To be.
Sometimes
100. That's
sometimes
gospel.
sometimes we end
According
up loving people for who we hope or
according
we
to
think they
Christy.
can be. But I think it's very key to know, again, it's living outside the delusion. Don't lie to yourself. If it's a spade, call it a spade, not a big spoon. So love people for who they are and not who you want them to be. um it's been wonderful having you guys on the show. I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you enjoyed our show. We've been talking about stability. We've been stable in our chairs for about an hour. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate the comments that came in, and our listeners on the podcast, the people who listen to the audio stream. We couldn't thank you more. We couldn't have been here without you guys. And those of you watching us on Facebook, on Twitter, take some time. Let me just make this scroll under there. So that take some time to check us out everywhere else, right? We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Just check out our pages, right? I'm going to be dropping some fun pictures this week on our Instagram. I promise it's going to be amazing. It's going to be some of our listeners and some of the Casa Match. So come on, check it out and give us a follow out there. If you haven't done that yet, please hit that subscribe button. It really goes to help this channel out a lot. Hit that like button and share with your friends, right? Thank you so much for joining us here at the Casa Podcast. And once again, from us here at the Tribe, it's
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great week.
Bye
have a
bye.
great week, guys. Bye.